Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Last Sunday, the St Catherines Anglican Church in Sandton held a Women's Month session to recognize women of transformation or transformational women who've broken barriers. The executive mayor of the city of Johannesburg, Dr. Mpho Phalatse, delivered the keynote speech. Judge Nelisa Mali was one of the speakers, and her content centered on how senior managers in the country are holding back transformation by forgetting the mandate when they get into their positions. She joins us now. Judge Mali, thank you so much. It's an honor to have you here. Thanks for coming through to join us.
Good morning, Desiree. Good morning to the viewers. Thank you for the invitation. I'm humbled.
Before we speak about the issues of transformation in the country, let's speak about yourself and how you have had to break barriers to become a judge in the High Court in South Africa.
Thank you. I've never planned or decided that I'm going to be a judge because during our time, there was no one who was a judge. You could not see it. You see anyone. Judges were white males. So it was not a question of our planning around it. It came. I can say by the grace of God, or it was God's plan for me.
Tell us how it came about, where it all started.
Where it all started, I was born in Nelisa Township in Mthatha, raised by a single parent in a family of many kids, 10 of us at home. I matriculated at Mthatha Technical College, went to University of Transkei. There I went to study, become law, or my plan was to study, no, not become law, become. But because of the point system, I ended up in law, starting in diploma in law. Then after that, I worked as a prosecutor. You
didn't even decide to go into law?
I didn't even decide to go to law. God made it for me. After that, I went to work as a prosecutor. But whilst I was working as a prosecutor, furthering my studies to get to BORIS LLB, I always had it in me that I wanted to follow a commercial route. But because I was already in law and liking it and seeing what it does in changing people's lives, so I decided to do Masters in Commercial Law, and commercial law is very wide, and my choice was tax law at University of Cape Town. I resigned as a prosecutor.
Another uncharted area, a Masters in tax law.
Oh yes, in 1995, just after, or in the infancy of our democracy, when it was not very easy. If I remember very well, in our class, we were only 3 black Africans.
Yeah. And this just led to your trajectory leading up to you being a judge?
Yes, but though I would not say that at that time it was just like that, but because I did tax and I wanted to contribute to the development of our country, to the developing country, out of that excitement. If you remember, Madiba had a speech, what are you going to do for your country? So I was following that what is it that I can do for my country? And then there was something about commercial law, tax, and foreign direct investments, international trade, all those nudged me to want to know more as to what kind of contribution I can make to my country. So after studying tax law, I went back home because it was difficult in Cape Town to get articles as a black person. I had to go back home where I got articles and where I had an opportunity of lecturing at the University of Transkei and Eastern Cape Technikon. All those now are called Walter Sisulu University. After serving my articles of clerkship at Blakeway and Lepan in Mthatha, I had to restart another route, other articles at Deloitte in Durban, though it was not articles because I'm a lawyer. It's majorly an accounting or audit law firm, but they
so
gave
some
me
form of just starting from the bottom.
The bottom again, yes. After I had already gone almost the full cycle And then now I had to start from the bottom at Deloitte because I have this edge that I want to do this tax.
And you want to learn.
I want to learn, and I want to see how I'm going to contribute with it. In fact, I already knew by then that there's contribution to be made out of
So, Judge,
practicing
you've
tax.
done so much and held leadership positions in areas where black women were not breaking the ceiling into very early in your life. But you said something on Sunday that I found interesting, that when you got into those management situations, you realized that transformation was just a buzzword. Managers were not actually taking it seriously and ensuring that those who reported to them came up the ranks and were able to fill those meaningful positions. Tell me about that.
Yes. I will not say that it was not taken serious, but there was another way of doing it, where you'll get to a position, or people got into positions as managers or middle manager, and then you find that in those positions, one is not allowed to take certain decisions, or even it's the subtle way, because you got into this position with all the qualifications, with all the experience. But now there's this kind of decision you are supposed to take. I'm going to say it's simple, a simple decision of hiring in your unit. Of course, you have to be assisted by a human resource component. You know, you are the one who's running a business unit. You know the kind of people you are going to work with.
What the needs are.
What the needs are. And then you find that the issue becomes, we want this person with LLB or BCom or whatever, and you look at the CVs, and on the background of transformation, because one is not looking in vacuum, you're looking at the background of transformation. I'm making an example. You have CVs from previously disadvantaged universities. You have CVs of the candidates from prestigious universities. And HR is the one who's running ahead. I want this kid. I want this candidate. I want this guy. Let's interview this candidate. And I always had transformation.
And you're thinking, we want the ones from disadvantaged
Yes, and I'm thinking, I want
backgrounds.
the ones from disadvantaged backgrounds. So
Those are the ones we're meant to give a chance.
Yes, how are you going to make impact? Because for me, it was to make impact in this transformation project or program. One has to get someone who has not been exposed. Not that I had anything against those who came from prestigious universities.
But as you say, you were working in a particular environment.
Yes. My calculation was a person who's coming from a prestigious university, he has more opportunities than a candidate coming from University of Venda, than a candidate coming from University of then Bophuthatswana, which is Northwest now, a candidate coming from Forte, a candidate coming from Zululand, and of course, from my alma mater, UNITRA. And then
their chances are much more limited.
Their chances are much more limited, exposure, everything. Mm-hmm. So,
do you think it's gotten any better?
Now that I left that space, I do not know. Because I'm no longer in those kind of positions where you become a manager somewhere.
Absolutely.
Yes, yeah. I became a judge in 2016. But what led me, going back to your question, to leave those kind of environments was exactly that. I mean, I was earning good salary, excellent everything, doing very well.
Which takes me back to another point that you made where you said these developments made you so upset. You were saying that upon research, you found out that the people who were supposed to be managing your operations actually didn't even have matric. And you were saying that you were telling the women there that the things that make you upset in life, the things that make you angry, like what made you angry, it's within you to change it. You went on and started your own operations where you hired the people that you wanted to hire. Tell us about that.
Exactly that. what makes you angry? That's my mantra. That's what I learned. No one told me. I realized that what makes you angry or what burdens you, to use softer words, what burdens you, answers lie within you. As answers are with you. You must go and do something about it. So I left senior positions or executive positions, started from zero, opening my own law firm. In my own law firm, I knew that I was going to be a real decision maker. I am not going to have exchanges, trying to plead a case for a candidate coming from the University of Venda. I mean, those that the people were not supposed to be pleading cases for. That was my understanding of transformation. So, lo and behold, I started with a candidate attorney from University of Transkei, not even knowing that he was from University of Transkei. After that, I had University of Venda candidate. A lot came.
And they came through the ranks.
Through the ranks in my law firm. And it was not even a big law firm. But for me, it was, I need to transfer this skill. Because wherever I will go, a black tax lawyer. We've never seen a black tax lawyer. No woman. And I didn't want to be the first and only. Because that's my understanding of transformation. And besides putting in sophisticated manner transformation, just the saying, if I can do it, why can't you do it?
It's a big deal being a judge. You say yourself, you never saw any black judges growing up. What do you think our viewers right now who would like to go into this space watching you, what does it mean being a judge? What's the importance of being a judge? What's your contribution to the direction of the country?
As a judge, one's contribution, there's a lot, but the simple one is administration of justice. But to break it down, the impartiality is number one. People must go to court knowing that the judge does not have sides. There are no biases. And number two is access to justice. One of the problems we had before 1994 or in early stages, access to justice is very important. Access to justice is comprised of many facets. For example, I was sitting in Mpumalanga because I also worked in Mpumalanga High Court. Mm-hmm. I was sitting in Mpumalanga having this matter, the criminal case. And the person who was charged there, I can say it publicly, but I'm not going to mention name, was a policeman because it's a public matter. Once it goes to the court of law,
Judge,
it's a public
I'm
space.
told that I need to wrap up. I just want to ask you one last question and hope you answer it briefly, to the extent that you can answer, because we know you have limitations in terms of how you can comment about the judicial system. You've worked in two areas that are very important in the country right now. You've worked at SARS, where there's conversations about state capture. You work in the justice system, where there is big conversations in the country about how if the South African justice system works for all citizens. Just to the extent that you can, what commentary do you have about these spaces and where the country is going just in terms of its justice? And maybe if you want to comment about SARS quickly.
I prefer not to comment about size because, as we always say, sub-judice. I don't even know a matter which is in court. Let me withdraw sub-judice. But any issue which has to do with state capture, as you all know, all those which are under investigation, I can't comment there. When it comes to the direction where we are going with the justice in the country, I must say we are going a very positive direction. A lot has been done. A lot of strides have been done in promoting women, not only in the high courts, even in the magistrate court. I mean, we have a lot of women magistrates now. And a lot of women judges. I was counting last night, and I realized that in our division, it looks like women are more than men, or we're almost the same numbers.
Yeah.
So a lot is being done, and besides that, then the question of other projects, the gender-based violence issues, they are being attended to.
Let's thank you once again for coming through to talk to us. Really an honor. Judge Nelisa Mali is with the Gauteng Division of the High Court in Pretoria. And of course, these are the conversations we're having just in relation to Women's Month.